Hello and welcome back to another edition of Reading Shakespeare with Cats. I'm Mr. Level and this here is Smalls. Today we're going to read Act 5, Scene 2. It's a very short scene, but it's a scene that has a lot of good lines and we'll go through and understand what some of those are. It opens with drum and colors. Oh, Smalls, you want to get some drums going? Nicely done with the drums. Enter Menteith, Caithness, Angus, Lennox, and soldiers. Who are they? What the heck? This whole scene, we have a new set of characters. That's strange. Menteith, one of the new characters, says, "The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macbeth." So just from that line alone, we can figure out kind of who Menteith is. He suggests that the English power is near. The English power is the army that's coming to Scotland. So here they are. They're in Scotland. Menteith is Scottish. And he talks about how the English power is led on by Malcolm, Seward, and the good Macbeth. He's one of those Scottish men who was ready to fight, was waiting for leadership to come and put up a fight against Macbeth. So that's who these men are. These are Scottish people ready to rebel against Macbeth. Revenges burn in them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Just like you're excited right now, Smalls. Angus says, near Burnham Wood shall we meet them. That way they are coming. Ooh, we hear mention of Burnham Wood. We've heard that before. Interesting. Caithness says, who knows if Donalbain be with his brother? Lennox says, for certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Seward's son and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood. So Donalbain, the king's other son, is just kind of like, he's not coming back. I don't know why. But it's mentioned here that he's not there. Then it's mentioned who is there. Even Seward's son is there, and many unrough youths. These are men, young men, boys who don't have to shave yet. They're unrough on their face. They're smooth-faced boys. Unlike you, Smalls. What does the tyrant? Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. So, what is Macbeth up to? Well, he's fortifying Dunsinane, which is his castle, and some think he's mad, he's gone crazy. Others that don't hate him quite as much say that it's valiant fury. That sounds nice. But he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. So this metaphorical belt is not going to fit around and contain all of those people who are rebelling against him. Now does he feel his secret murders sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him, like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. And this line recalls back to early in the play when Macbeth was referring to his title as robes. And now they're referring to his title as king, as a giant's robe. And Macbeth is a dwarfish thief. He's like, this guy trying to wear my clothes. Can't do it, you're not big enough. On top of that, he says that those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. So the people who do fight for Macbeth are only doing so because they're ordered to. They don't really believe in his cause. Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there? Menteith jokes that Macbeth, who can blame him for going crazy, for recoiling and starting, because everything within him doesn't want to be there. So not just like his army doesn't want to be with him, even his own body doesn't want to be with him. His liver's sitting there saying, oh gosh, I wish I wasn't in this jerk. And so that causes him to recoil and start and see things. Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Where is obedience truly owed? Where do they truly owe their obedience? To Malcolm. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us. Okay, and again, metaphorical here. They're saying that the sickly weal, the weal is the commonwealth, like the wealth. The weal is the wealth, like the commonwealth, so the country, and the sickly country. He's saying that there's a medicine for this sick country that's coming, and with him pour we in. Him is the medicine, okay? The medicine is Malcolm. And he says, with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us. We will pour all of our blood into this fight in order to cure our country. And Lennox has a better idea. He says, or so much as it needs, to dew the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Burnham. He says, maybe not all of our blood. We don't need all of that. How about just enough, or so much as it needs, to dew the sovereign flower? Now, notice the verb dew is D-E-W, like dew on grass. So just enough to get it wet. Just enough to give life to the flower, and enough to drown the weeds. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth would be the weeds. And now he says, make we our march towards Burnham, where they think they're going to meet up with Malcolm and those forces. They exit, marching. Moving right along into scene 3, here's Tank. He's not going to like this as much as Smalls. Smalls loved it. All right. Enter Macbeth, the doctors, and attendants. And Macbeth says, bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Till Burnham Wood remove to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall ever have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. Enter a servant. The devil damn thee black, thou cream-faced loon. Where gottest thou that goose look? Macbeth is pointing something out about the servant, that his face is extremely pale, very white, and he's making fun of him for it. And the servant says, there is 10,000. Geese, villain? Soldiers, sir. Go prick thy face and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul. Those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, way face? The English force, so please you. Take thy face hence. The servant exits. What was Macbeth saying there and all that? He just basically made fun of him for having a really pale complexion over and over again. And the reason he's making fun of him for being pale is because that means that he must be afraid. He thinks that it's because he's scared. And so he is challenging and ripping on this poor servant for the pale face. And I love the line at the end, take thy face hence. Just like, take your face and get it out of here. Sorry, Smalls, it was just acting. I'm not really bullying you. The servant exits, and Macbeth says, Satan! I am sick at heart when I behold. Satan, I say! What's going on? Who's Satan? Notice it's S-E-Y-T-O-N, so no, he's not conjuring the devil, though the name sounds eerily similar to it. I don't think that's an accident. It's actually just another servant whose name is Satan. This push will cheer me ever, or deceit me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life has fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud, but deep, mouth honor, breath which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan! Okay. Enter Satan. Before we get to that, Macbeth just had this nice moment here where, what is he saying in this? He says this push, which is this attack from the English forces, will cheer me ever or disseat me now. To seat would mean take out of his seat, out of the throne. He's going to lose the throne, or it's going to cheer him forever. One of the two is going to happen. And then he says, I have lived long enough. My way of life has fallen into the sear. The sear on the sideline says the condition of being dry and withered. And he compares it to the yellow light, to the yellow leaf. His life is compared to a yellow leaf. It's near its end. And that which should accompany old age. Now, whether or not he actually is old sort of depends on the actor you put up there. But even if he's not actually old, he's considering himself of old age because he seems maybe really close to his death. And he says, and that which should accompany old age, so the things you should have when you're old, such as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, all those things, I must not look to have. He realizes he's not going to look to have any of those things here at the end of his life. Now, it might help if you didn't kill your friends, if you want to have troops of friends, but in their stead, what does he have? Curses. Not loud, but deep. No one's shouting out curses about Macbeth, but they're feeling them deeply. He has mouth honor, where people say nice things to him, but it's just from the mouth. It's not from the heart. And he has breath. That's what he has. He has breath, which, he says, the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. His poor heart would gladly deny breath. Denying breath would mean dying. He would gladly die at this point, but it dares not. So that's the conundrum he's in now. He would love to be dead, but he isn't willing to do it. Satan! Enter, Satan. What's your gracious pleasure? What news more? All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. 'Tis not needed yet. I'll put it on. Think about that. Macbeth is sitting here. He doesn't need to put his armor on yet. It's not time for battle yet. And here he is saying, put it on me. This is really, really heavy armor. Okay, this is not, medieval armors. Like we're talking like 70, 80, maybe 100 pounds worth of armor. And he's saying, put it on me now. What does that show about Macbeth? Is it his paranoia? Is he irrational? It's maybe a combination of the both. Send out more horses. Scur the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. Oh, by the way, yeah, just go hang random people if they sound like they're afraid of the English forces coming. How does your patient, doctor? Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Cure her of that. Macbeth says, oh, she's not sick, but she has trouble in her mind. She's has troubling thoughts. Cure her of that. Just do that. Canst thou not minister to a mind disease? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. In other words, can't you just take a rooted sorrow, a bad memory, and just pull it right out of her brain? Can't you just take out all the written troubles of her brain? Can't you cleanse her heart of anything that weighs upon it? Can't you do that? Therein the patient must minister to himself. Throw physic to the dogs. I'll none of it. Physic is medicine. He's saying, medicine schmedicine. I'll be trusting my witchcraft. Come, put mine armor on. Give me my staff. Attendants begin to arm him. Satan, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, senna, or what purgative drug would scour these English hence? Hearest thou of them? Okay, so you notice I kind of was turning back and forth because that's how Macbeth's speech is going here. It's quick, it's going this way, it's going that way, it's erratic, it's a bit chaotic. Again, what does that show us about Macbeth's mental state? On top of that, to the attendants, he's saying, put my armor on. And then he says, pull it off, I say. In other words, it sounds like he just told them to pull off all of his armor in the middle of this, right after demanding they put it on. With the doctor, he says, the problem is the thanes fly from me. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land. To cast the water is to take a urine sample. He's saying, can you take a pee sample from Scotland and find her disease and then purge that disease to a sound and a pristine health? If you could, I would applaud you. That would be nice. Okay, so he's got another chore for the doctor. And then he asks the doctor what rhubarb, senna, or what purgative drug would scour these English hence. Senna is like a stool softener. So he's talking about like what drug could we give that would, flush out the English forces. Hearest thou of them? Aye, my good lord. Your royal preparation makes us hear something. Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane. And the doctor says, were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me near. In other words, if he was away from Dunsinane, no profit, no amount of money could bring him to this place, because this is nonsense. They exit, and that is Act 5, Scene 3.